chat. Anyway, we're going to get started because this is add, edit, and delete. This is the how to take home what you need and how to make it your own for any successful life transition plan, right? So these are my 3 personal rules, and they will change your life. Change how you utilize the things that you gain, especially this week, and allow you to move through all of life transitions effectively and do so with resilience, even in times like now that are filled with adversity. For those of you who have not had the opportunity to meet me yet, my name is Tricia Parido, and who I am is an adoring wife, a mother of 5 amazing adult children, the grandmother of 4 beautiful youngsters, and the proud owner and creator of an amazing life coaching practice. I have to say, I've had a pretty amazing life filled with a lot of genuineness, authenticity, love, and honor. Those things are very important to me. But it didn't always look that way in my life. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. I've heard a lot of stories this week. But you see, I have a good 30 plus year story that has a ton of great, wonderful life things and life experiences, but they're also intertwined with a whole lot of traumatic events. And no, I'm not saying I'm 30 because I'm, 50. In fact, between the ages of 4 and 26, my life, was very convoluted. And it was at times quite difficult to actually enjoy or relish in the beautiful things in my life because I had so many things that were put in front of me that created that need to endure. Now, the cool thing about me is, I've always really had this ability to be a champion or a warrior, if you will, to use some really, common now terms. But I've always had an innate ability to, pick myself up by the bootstraps and keep life moving forward. The problem was I just didn't know what I needed to know about my own internal strengths, because if I had, I would have had a much better opportunity to function more effectively in my life. So to give you a little bit of background on that, in that first half of my life, if you will, because 4 is pretty young, I had experienced numerous traumas and assaults, domestic violence, emotional abuse, poor adult and peer modeling, a lot of senseless death, near-death experiences myself. And then there was the body dysmorphia, the anxiety, the depression, the panic, the fear, social isolation. And of course, I can't leave out the resulting eating disorders, chemical dependencies, and a myriad of process addictions, such as, impulsive shopping, people-pleasing codependency, and perfectionism. So the list for the second half of my life has become so much shorter and honestly is so much just outweighed by gifts. But believe me, there's been a great deal of transitions even in the second half, from full-time parenting to empty nesting to now aging parents. But my journey to living free has been tremendously rewarding. Now, with that said, it had to start somewhere. And so if I put it in a place for you, it was, when I came to this place of realizing that, I no longer knew who I was outside of my role. And that role of being a wife and a mother and a grandmother and a caretaker and a go-to person, whatever it was, right? That role in my life, I no longer knew who I was. And I found myself seeking things outside of myself to fill or to try to fill things. And where I ultimately landed was, an internal feeling that, wow, my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, my opinions and beliefs really weren't adding value anywhere. And those things were also not seen as valid. And that was my own internal dialogue. So I put myself in positions much like this one. In fact, I put myself in many situations that afforded me the opportunity to learn something, just anything that would improve my life. And along that path, I received so many ideas from treatment programs, whether I was working at them or I was a part of them. I also went back to college and I studied numerous evidence-based practices for years, up to and including studying coaching as an effective psychological practice. I engaged in therapeutic and mindfulness talks and seminars. I tried so hard to implement these things just as they were presented by the master in their method, right? You get the idea. Like, I was hungry and I was grasping and buying and, joining and all of these things, right? Just to anything to jumpstart. And what it boiled down to, or what that sticking point for me was this. I was trying to make my life fit into the practice or the method instead of integrating that method, that method or that practice effectively into my life. Make sense? So once I figured out what is really now part of my life mantra, which is, this is my life too. It can look, feel, be however I want it to. Things began to change. This is where I came to understand that I wasn't going to grow so long as things were easy. I was only going to grow if I started facing my challenges. And the challenge ultimately boiled down to add, edit, and delete. All of the knowledge I had gained so that I could fit it into my life in a way that would accentuate me, myself, the unique individual being that I am. Now, I get it. That sounds great, right? But how did I know? I get asked this question. How did I know what to add? How did I know where to edit? And then how did I know when to delete? So first, the answer to delete is not just to get rid of things. Those things, those tactics, those steps that you don't like, they're hard, you don't understand them, because that's just trying to keep things easy. You only, write this down if you want, but you only delete when you have an alternative, when you have an alternate way or an alternative to create that same outcome that just speaks your language or matches your uniqueness more effectively. It's Friday. I'm a little tongue-tied. Because it can be something that you already excel at. So let me give you an example, just to kind of slow the pace down here. So let's say we're in my 9 tips to create personal discipline, and you already have an effective way to leave pain behind. You could then effectively delete the contents that I have in that tip from what you plan to do going forward. But what you won't do is delete the step, because the bottom line is that you absolutely cannot go from point A to point Z without doing B through Y. You just can't do it. Now, I get it. We're all hoping to transcend to new heights, to rise above to a more superior state beyond our ordinary limitations. I work on it every day. And I say that we can find transcendence right here in our daily life and amid this changing world. You just have to be open and willing to engage in the actions that will foster your development and be eager to reach toward what your self-transcendence will be. Remember, this is an upward momentum. If you remove some of the footing, you have to be able to replace it before you can go on. Here's a catch. What about deleting the things that are harmful or hurtful? Yes, absolutely yes. You will notice me talking about hearing differently today, and this is a good time to bring this up and give you some examples. Yes, I want you to delete hurtful words that you say to yourself. Yes, I want you to delete hurtful things that you hear in another person's words directed to you, and that cause you to negatively judge something you do not have all the information to effectively judge. Absolutely, yes, delete harmful actions, those things that restrict you from living fully, or those things that make you feel punished, guilty, or selfish. I could talk about this one for quite some time, and believe me, all of my clients know, because we have sections and very specific talks about this, because feeling guilty, punished, or selfish in our life is not living free, and it doesn't feel good, and it's not effective. But I think right now what we're going to do is move on, to edit, because edit is how we find purpose in our actions, purpose in our motives, and purpose in our lives in general. Okay, so this means that if we hear a message about something and it speaks to us, we can apply it even if it's totally unrelated to what the original message was referring to. I call it hearing what I need to hear. In fact, I work on hearing differently quite a bit, because the context in which I hear dictates what I experience. So before I get off topic, we'll pull in some more examples, right? Let's say I tell you that life balance consists of 8 core functions, and that one of those core functions has 6 subcategories, bringing the true count to creating a whole life balance to 14 crucial aspects. Now you listen to another coach who tells you that life balance consists of 4 core functions. You have listened to both of us, but you only identify meaning in 6 core functions. However, those 6 include 90% of what you learned from both of our presentations. So what are you going to do? You're going to edit, right? You're going to edit. You're going to create your life balance aspirations using your 6 core functions and the 90%, because this is what speaks to you. So you ultimately will be able to effectively maintain it in your life. Edit it, delete, make it your own. Because remember, and this is important, and you might want to write it down, and I'll try to say it slow enough, but you need to remember, personal drive is a combination of desire and energy in its simplest form, directed at achieving a goal in whatever you have set your heart to accomplish. Finally, we move to add. This is the best part. You know why? Because absolutely everything has the capability or capacity to improve. It's about meaning. It's about fine-tuning our meaning in the pursuit of happiness. Look, I've explored the question with many people, and the question is, how can we each and every one of us, live more meaningfully? I've spent well over 7 years reading thousands of pages of psychology, philosophy, to bring it all together. And I've found that there are many ways to create a meaningful life. From inspiring our personal developments to finding life fulfillment, and just like right now, fine-tuning our meaning in the pursuit of happiness. But how does this show you how to effectively add something to an already proven to be effective in someone else's life's tactic. That was a tongue twister. And here's the deal. Write this down also. If it feels like it is lacking, then it's lacking for you. Sit down with it, be still with it, identify why it's lacking, why it's not working as well as you had hoped, and seek to find how you can improve it going forward. Don't get stuck doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. It's just the definition of insanity. Show yourself the same unconditional positive regard that you showed the professional who created the tactic. And trust in your ability to cultivate what is missing. It's a choice to commit to improving your life functioning. You have to encourage yourself. You have to reflect thoughtfully. Because you know what? You're going to need to know how defining experiences shaped you. You're going to have to know what you lost, what you've gained. This is how people change their stories, even when they seek help from others. Now, I got to warn you, stories don't just change overnight. It could take years, and it can be painful. After all, we've all suffered. We've established that. And we've all had challenges. We've established that. But embracing those painful memories is what led me to new insights and wisdom, to finding that greatness within that sustains me. I see purpose, belonging, meaning, and transcendence in my life every day. The things that I endured in my life were all so that I could be right here today, doing exactly what I'm doing the work that I do with the ability to connect, the ability to understand, the ability to empathize with those needing to belong as well. Now, on my journey, I did a lot of observing. I did a lot of learning. There was tons of research, practicing, restructuring, and implementing. What it all boiled down to is the 9 very significant processes and ways of functioning. I shared them before. I've done the legwork for you. So I'm going to leave you today with just the bullets. You can visit my booth for more in-depth downloadable guide, because we have Building Milestones, the brief, there for you to download. So number 1, because I am watching my time here, you must genuinely get to know yourself. Every piece that makes your emotional, intellectual, physical, social, environmental, and spiritual being function. Number 2, you must adjust how you're functioning. Balance goes far deeper than between home and work life. Number 3 is crucial. You must abandon your reactivity and become responsive in all actions. Number 4, you will need to learn what drive you operate from, internal or external. Number 5, create a filtrating boundary system, one that is backed by healthy limits and limitations. 6, you must be willing to get effective and do what works. This means being mindful and willing to evaluate how you handle yourself. Number 7, you must be able to control your moments, especially in times of distress. Number 8, leave the pain behind and lead with a new lens. And number 9 is your time to shine. Add, edit, delete. Build your own mastery. Your life living free from negative attachments. Make sure to condition the new effective behaviors. You have to be willing to acknowledge them and yourself. This means you know what's working and why. You're rewarding yourself for a job well done, and you're not focusing on the negative. If it's not working, throw it away. I want you to know that I work with women and men who no longer know who they are outside of their role in life and have now found themselves stuck in engaging in an array of addictive behaviors, actions, and emotions. I guide them through their lives, in their lives, through each and every step, and teaching them how to create their own mastery and their own way to live free. Just because this is the way I did it, I'm here to help you add, edit, and delete. It's what we do. This is my passion. My programs are here for you. We have Learn to Live Free. We have Live for Yourself First. We have Strengthening Your Resilience. And these can be done in a Transform in 360. They can also be done through another coaching practice, or they can be done a little bit more independently. But I always consult with my clients, and I'm always there to guide. Nobody ever has to do it alone. My telephone number is area code 805-710-2513. Write it down, 805-710-2513. Send me a text, give me a call, connect with me on social media. You can usually find me by just typing in my name, Tricia Parido. You can also send me an email at turningleafsrecovery@gmail.com. I want to thank you guys all so much for giving me all of your time and attention. I know that this is the last day of the expo and everybody is so busy, so busy, and trying to connect that one last final time with people that they haven't had the opportunity to connect with. So I just want you to know that myself and my team are always available. You can connect with us directly through the website, turningleafsrecovery.com. Again, through social media. We each have our own page. Again, we're here for you. Thank you again so much. Bethany is probably over in the booth right now. And I look forward to chatting with you. I hope you had a great week and that you really enjoyed yourself. Talk to you soon. Be well.